If you want to know what's trending or you miss your favorite live shows, you can watch it all on our YouTube channel. Simply log on to www.youtube.com/channelsweb. Scroll down to your favorite program and click play. You can also view all uploaded videos by clicking on View All. Don't forget to subscribe and get the latest videos. If they are interesting, like them and be heard. Get connected with the channel's television YouTube page. The news at your fingertips.
The accounting system of governments in Nigeria must change. There is no way a governor with his accountant general and a few other officials will just decide what happens to the monies of a state. I think that some of these charges must be consolidated. In other words, as the state is getting money from federal allocation, the allocation committee already knows how much of this is for salaries, and they can go directly to such accounts.
Your Excellencies, it is evident that the task of ensuring growth, job creation, and equity is quite enormous. By cultivating a culture of prudent management of resources at all levels of government, this will entail looking inwards to secure sustainable ways of increasing internally generated revenue and harnessing growth potentials of each state to supplement the Federation account allocation to states. The states are also encouraged to embark on projects that will meet immediate needs of the people, taking account of available resources. I therefore urge Council members to consider as a matter of priority and urgency, exploring efficient means of gradually liquidating all unpaid salaries of staff, which have brought untold hardship to thousands of families. I would like also, as a former governor myself, to remind us the need for neighboring states to cooperate closely on projects such as interstate and feeder roads.
Well, Dr. Kenan also joins us now. He's an investment consultant, a legal practitioner, economist as well. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, the National Economic Council has been constituted, many looking to see what kind of strategies or policies will they take. But we know that there's a committee, yes, it's a committee that's been put in place to immediately look into what happens to those funds that didn't go to where it should go to. But given the fact of where we are now, about states paying salaries, his admonition, and then the governors moving on from seeking for a direct bailout, telling the federal government, we've done roads for you, give us those monies back. Funds that are going to the excess crude accounts rather than go to the federation account, let them, there's a committee too on that one to immediately look at it, see how funds could go to the states. Should there be a moment of respite, maybe anytime soon? Because if those monies come to them, can they? Will they? Should they use them to pay salaries?
Well, thanks. That's not a double-barrel question, triple-barrel, if I would say. First of all, we have to thank the President for seizing the initiative. First of all, if you listen to him clearly, he admonished the governors. You guys need to be prudent with your resources. He admonished them that they have to go and seek more creative ways to improve their IGR. He admonished them to go and pay a backlog of salaries and ameliorate hardship that the delayed payment is causing. And he's asked them to balance the need to execute urgent projects against the background of available resources. I listened to him carefully. These are the 4 key points he made. If he hadn't said that, I would have been surprised. Because just coming to inaugurate the Economic Council is one thing, but letting them ride with what he proposes should be their primary agenda is very important. And he did that, and the point was very clear. I saw the Vice President listening very carefully, because the Vice President is the chairman of the National Economic Council. So, and the Minister of Finance is a member of the National Economic Council. But there is no minister. So I'm not quite sure whether the Minister of Finance, the Permanent Secretary, Finance Minister is there, or was there.
So whoever is in that position perhaps should be able to what? Carry out those directives?
Well, be a facilitator. Because the Economic Council is the highest decision-making body on economic issues.
I don't think the Permanent Secretary, are they supposed to
They're
be?
supposed
I
to
don't
be.
know,
If
but
there's no minister, the Permanent
the
Secretary is
Secretary
supposed to be
represents the
there.
minister.
Can attend
Yes.
the NEC meeting.
I didn't say can attend, but the Permanent Secretary represents the minister on every issue that should, excuse me, be done. But I don't know whether what the civil service rules are permitting him to attend a meeting where the governors will be, unless on special dispensation. However, that leaves a gap because the NEC is not complete. The finance minister is not there. That now tells you one of the reasons why these ministers need to come on board quickly, so that the government hits the ground running. Now, the governors listened attentively. I didn't hear of any dissenting voice
From the
governors as to what the president said. That means the message sank.
Did you expect that it should have been a dissenting voice, and perhaps on which matter?
A governor could say, we have asked the president, look, pay us our arrears of money we've spent with the government, for federal government projects.
Yeah, but I think the
He said
president
he's going
did
to
say
do that.
if they follow due process, if I remember properly.
Yes, he said so. Even before that NEC meeting, he had said it. There's a committee, I think it's set up, of the governors, collate the government, federal government projects that were executed by states, and let's see them verify. If they follow due process, with our initial approval for you to do it, then we'll pay, if we okay the final invoice. So, any governor could say, well, I want to wait until I get my payment from government before I can pay salaries. But I think they just shared some billions from the Consolidated Revenue Fund after the last FAC meeting. So, I understand Osun State paid December salaries for last year. So, the governors have to find ways to make sure that they pay some money from that allocation that came. Now, on the other issues the president said, I'm aware that the Anambra State governor is the first governor in the country to have organized a retreat of his executive committee, his executive council, to discuss creative ways to improve their IGR and other attendant or allied issues. Any governor that is going to fold his hands and be waiting for the Federation account funds must be joking. Because you don't even know. The state governments do not know the balance sheets of the federal. It's not their business. What you know is that when the Federation account funds come, you take what's your share, the government deals with her own. The government has its own issue about not getting enough revenue because oil prices have dropped. And they too have their own challenges, salaries and other things to pay. So I like the president's disposition. Hey, you guys, get up and do what you know you're supposed to do. You don't even know my own challenges.
Let me even bring in this perspective.
That's what I see.
All right.
In this
all these arguments that we see about what happened to the funds in the ECA, should there have been an ECA in the first place, What's the percentage? Is the FG also using the instrumentality of the CBN to also seek for loans or bonds? Should we be talking about the FG publishing what exactly they met in which account? Because would it for you sort out all these arguments going back and forth about who took what and left what?
I would agree with you on that point. If you're talking about transparency, let the government publish what they have left. Because it's not enough to come onto the pages of the paper and say the federal government, some people reported federal government of Jonathan, some people reported Mr. Konjo-Iweala, spent $2.1 billion without approval. That statement is vague. Give the details. How was it? On what was money spent? When? How? What projects? So I'm responding to what you said. You shouldn't, both domestically and internationally, you shouldn't hit up the polity with some of these kind of statements if you're not backing them with facts. Because what message are you passing to the international community? If we show that we are very reckless in funds expenditures, it's going to be difficult to have foreign assistance. We've gone to the G7. So if you want to make those kind of statements, don't make them in bits. Bring out the entire facts at once and put it out in the public domain. And then the former government usually publishes in the paper monthly the FAC allocations to all the states and federal. So let the government come out and say, this is how much we have in the account. I heard they said the treasury is empty. But it can't be totally empty. The president has been traveling. Money is traveling.
Some people said empty, some said virtually empty.
Okay, so virtually, well, I read empty as a headline. So perhaps that transparency will help. But the point is, like I used to say this before, when you come to the excess crude account issue, the last time I was here, I made a very diagnostic analysis. There are other jurisdictions in the world that operate the excess crude account. And I gave a very good example of alternate Norway. Their excess crude account stands at 700 billion United States dollars.